Most retailers and brands that incorporate sustainable land-based materials in their end products face volatile prices, variations in quality, and uncertain quantity in their supply chain. Lowest cost buying as a sourcing strategy will lead to diminishing returns and higher sustainability risks. Farmers who do not have stable and sustainable pricing will not make a living, and many links in the supply chain cannot commit to the investment needed to improve quality and meet sudden changes in demand. The competition to offer the lowest possible price for primary materials means that information about true costs is withheld or lacking between each individual link in the supply chain. The challenge lies in the complexity, risks, and lack of line of sight through all of the supply chain participants. Mitigating social and financial risks that could negatively impact on a brand's reputation requires a special kind of silver bullet.
The better we could integrate supply chains, the better the opportunity to remove inefficiencies and to really optimize the supply chain. So there are so many opportunities to create that additional value for everybody in the supply chain.
OrganiMark is pioneering innovative methods and tools to create sustainable production environments that actually help the whole supply chain to adapt to demands for quick response and to get communication and information about market demand flowing through every player in a supply chain, harnessing together environmental responsibility with consumer demand. OrganiMark is a supply chain development company that understands what brands and retailers need from their supply chains, and how better integration between links in the supply chain can achieve that. Just think of cotton clothing and apparel. These supply chains start at the farm, then to the gin, to the spinner, to the weavers and manufacturers, to retailers and eventually the consumer. We need supply chain alignment and integration across borders. We need to ensure traceability and have tools to measure and continuously improve our impact on future generations. From experience, solving supply chain integration needs a team with leadership that can weather the storms of transformational change and disruptive innovation. The integration of relationships across links in the supply chain enables the sharing of true cost information. Quality and efficiency parameters needed by retailers can be understood from the primary source onwards at every stage. Adherence to protocol and stable commitments to supply known and reliable quantities and qualities can in turn be used to support more effective financing models that help farmers and processors invest to improve both sustainable supply and quick response. Traceability throughout an entire chain ensures the integrity behind promises to the consumer. Insurance and financing models that take the whole supply chain into account are more cost-effective. Balancing fair margin and stable pricing with optimized warehousing and long-term commitments transforms the participants of a supply chain into pillars of sustainability. The real wealth of a country lies in the skills and attitudes of its people. South Africa has an established, diversified agricultural and manufacturing base that it's showing its resilience to compete as a sustainable sourcing destination globally. In addition, South Africa's logistical and domestic infrastructures make it the perfect gateway to the whole Southern Africa region. The first Connect with Africa mission, organised by OrganiMark in collaboration with the Textile Exchange and the Sustainable Cotton Cluster, was a huge success. The first adventurous US and European brands experienced the warmth of the people, the biodiversity and the wealth of land-based materials over a 1,600 kilometre journey. The investigating group found that South African producers, agricultural processors, fibre converters and manufacturers were far more advanced on the sustainability maturity scale and far more technologically advanced than most visitors anticipated. OrganiMark has a rich background as facilitator and integrator of business clusters, with the sustainable cotton cluster as a success story. Together with the South African Department of Trade and Industry, the Industrial Development Corporation, businesses in the supply chain, Cotton SA and academic institutions and financial institutions, this strategy is fast becoming one of the most powerful mechanisms to successfully align and integrate supply chains with a long-term vision and common objectives. The same principles apply to the formation of integrated supply chains of all other land-based raw material.
We start from upstream. We believe the upstream component for sustainability is probably the most important component of sustainability of exotic skins in South Africa.
Sustainability is also about good business. People working together and starting to talk the language of sharing information, of sharing data.
The cluster concept for us is definitely, it's new. But the scary part's been sharing. But the onus is always on you to continue innovation, to find new products.
Yeah, I agree with the whole thing about being an innovation leader and staying ahead of the curve, and you can share your resources, but as long as you're still developing.
History made in South Africa in the cotton industry when we sat in the boardroom in Cotton SA with the whole sector around one table.
We are now today in a situation that whenever the farmer delivers cotton, we can pay him up to 70% immediately.
I'm sure the farmers take pride in the fact that what they're making is going into Mr. Price, I think, is a major retailer here. And they can say, okay, this was grown on my farm on X and X date, the yield was so-and-so. You can take a lot of pride in that.
That's amazing, right? Like, imagine as a farmer, like how much risk's taken off my shoulder that now I'm able to plant the crop knowing that I have a buyer lined up.
I'm looking forward to work with companies, international companies like OrganiMark that will open up and link up brands with the South African producers. I mean, that will really open up a new world for them, for the producers and for us.
Instead of just chipping away and incrementally saying, well, maybe we can tweak this or tweak that, you're really saying, no, we have to think about this differently. And as soon as brands and suppliers can make that shift, I think it will go faster.
The cluster model has got enough enough scale to maybe influence the brands and the retailers easier.
So what's the first thing you're going to tell your colleagues when you go back to work?
Buy mohair?
Yeah, good answer.